Namaskar and hello everybody. I am Dr. Swati Popat Vats. I am the president of the Podar Education Network and I'm also the president of the Early Childhood Association of India and APA, which is Association for Primary Education and Research. It is such a pleasure, thanks to EdTech, that I'm getting an opportunity to speak on something that I am very passionate about, and which is how do we prepare children with the best 5 skills so that they can face the future. We today don't know what the future is going to be like. We talk about VUCA, the VUCA world. I think we are already there in it, because right now, if you see, because of COVID-19, we are facing a very volatile period. We have been put into lockdown, and some of us are grumbling, some of us are happy, some of us are spending time, some of us are worried about jobs, salaries, etc. Now, what I would like all of us to do is imagine if lockdown did not have Wi-Fi. Right. Can you imagine that? You and I wouldn't be talking, speaking, webinars, WhatsApp, Facebook. That would have been a lockdown. What you have right now is actually for our own safety. And that is what we have to help everybody understand, that right now, whatever we are going through is for our safety, is for our health. Having said that, children right now, any age group, be it early childhood education, be it primary years, be it secondary, every child right now is going through a lot of stress. Stress of being cooped up at home, stress of not able to meet their friends. Yes, they are having chats on WhatsApp and FaceTime, etc. But it is so important for them to meet people face to face, which they are not able to do right now. And then they have online learning, again, in which many of these children have had to adjust, because the things are very different in a live classroom and very different in an online classroom. Teachers are doing so much of adjustments. I say kudos to the teachers, whether they are early childhood teachers, primary, secondary, or even senior secondary. Teachers overnight have adjusted to this new normal and have started doing their best. But my heart goes out to our children who have been put into this situation for no fault of theirs. Our children who are doing their best to cope. And at this time, we are all talking about lockdown mein kya karna chahiye, how to handle children during lockdown. I would say use this lockdown period to prepare your child for the future, because the future is going to be as tough as the lockdown, because the future is uncertain, because the future will require something called balance. You and I, as educators, as parents, have constantly been saying screen time is bad, technology is bad, media is bad. And now look at us. In the lockdown, we are on screen time, we are with technology, we are watching media. So it's the balance, this word called balance, which is so important. Many people say COVID happened because we ruined the planet, that we wasted resources, that we were not careful. Even in that, if you look at it, balance. If we only learn the word and the meaning and the definition balance, we would be making a better life for ourselves and our children. And that is why the first and foremost thing that we need to teach our children is the ability to balance the black with the white, and sometimes to also accept the gray. That is the need of the hour. We cannot have a very fixed opinion about things, because then that is black or white. We have to have the middle path. We have to understand that there is a good in something and there is bad. So for example, screen time. There was good in it, but we handled it badly. Technology, We cannot live without technology. Think about it. But we are constantly berating technology because we don't know balance. Right now, we are worried about our children on mobile phones, screens. Maybe there is a bigger technology which is waiting to come. Robots. Robots may come very soon. We need to understand that at that time, when it will be time to introduce robots in our lives, they have actually already started. Alexa is a robot. Siri on your phone is a robot. So robots are going to become part of our life. At that time, instead of saying this is bad, why don't we introduce it with a balance? Why don't we prepare children to understand that everything has its good and its bad, its pros and its con. So it is very important that you and I, as educators and parents, understand the word balance. Balance is very, very, very important. Now let me tell you something about the 5 skills that I said that children should have. The first is, of course, balance. If we don't teach children balance, there are chances that they may end up hating something or loving something too much. And that is why, friends, if you and I practice balance, we will be able to teach balance to children. The second skill that we want everybody to have is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from a difficult situation. So if you go to see, India has been very, very resilient in terms of the amount of times it has been invaded, captured, ruled, etc. We have been resilient, and today we are a developing country going on the path of success. Resilience. What does it mean for children? Resilience means if I was not able to get the marks that I wanted, am I able to recover from it and recover stronger? Or do I go into depression? Or do I go into a mode of defeatism that ये तो मेरे से नहीं होगा, I don't think this is, I'm not meant for it, ये मैं वापस नहीं करूँगा. That is something. Defeatism is the complete opposite of resilience. And resilience is something that you and I need to give our children. We need to teach them how to bounce back, how to always find the positive even in a negative situation. I'm not saying don't cry. I'm not saying don't be sad. That is part and parcel of who we are as human beings. Nav ras. Till we don't experience the nav ras, we are not going to be able to enjoy life. But that's exactly it. There are nav ras. Don't stay too much in any one of these ras. And that's why resilience. Resilience is something we have to give our children. It starts from early childhood. You promised the child that I will show you a movie today. Something very, very emergency came up and you were not able to take the child. You informed the child will have to, in that moment, recover, which means I want to go, but now I can't go. So resilience also means that you give the child that little window to experience the pain or the sadness of that situation or that experience. But that window should not be so long that the child gets depressed and has that feeling of defeatism. It happens when children get their marks after a test, after an exam. They were expecting 90%, maybe they got 70%. It's every right for a parent to have a question to the child that what happened? You had learnt everything, you told me you had written the questions. Give that little moment of recovery. But at the same time, resilience means the ability to bounce back after experiencing that sad situation, after experiencing that little bit of drawback and saying, no, it's okay if I didn't win this time. It's okay. I will try again. So there is a story of Thomas the Tank Engine. okay, the engine, and he says, I can, I can, I can, I can. Obama had the same quote. He says, we can, we can, we can. So that's exactly what resilience is all about. Resilience is the ability to never stop yourself from trying again. Because it is resilient children who will be able to get their dreams. It is resilient citizens who will be able to take their nation from doom to gloom to bloom. So it is very, very important that we go through the phases, but we don't forget that resilience is like that rainbow at the end of a dreary day. It's very, very important for us to teach our children resilience. So how can children be taught resilience? Children have to see resilience. And that is why I read a lot of biographies. When you read biographies, you get emotionally charged, emotionally rejuvenated, and you feel, well, look at this person. This person went through so many ups and downs, and still this person has survived and is doing well. That for me is the boost for resilience, reading biographies. Biographies don't need to be thick books. Biographies can be small little booklets, small stories that you find on the internet. Biographies can be found even in films. In fact, many of the Disney films talk about bouncing back. One of my favorite cartoon characters, in fact two of them, are Winnie the Pooh and Snoopy. I like these two stories, the comic strips, because of the resilience that I see in the characters. So it is very, very important for us to understand that children need literature, children need good reading habits to get inspiration. So it's important that if you want to teach resilience to your children, you are exposing them to good reading content. I will tell you another comic which I was very fond of, which actually is a very good example of resilience. It's called Asterix. If you read Asterix, Asterix is a small little village. It's the only village that Julius Caesar, was not able to capture. It's a small little village of absolute, I would say, idiots. But because of their solidarity, because of the way they are always together, that is what is keeping them and their spirits up. They also have one secret. It's called the magic potion. And magic potion is actually that little gap that you give to a person, that little boost that you give to a person, the little boost that you give to a child. You have it in you. That's a magic potion. And I think our children need magic potion in their lives. So what is this magic potion that we can give to our children? The magic potion is support, is love, and is understanding. I never like the word patience. People say be patient with children. No. Patience, if you see the definition of patience, it's actually tolerating someone. It's tolerating someone till you lose patience, till you run out of patience. So never be patient with children. Support, love, understanding. If you have these three, you are the best teacher, you are the best parent. Patience you have with mother-in-laws. Patience you have with husbands. Patience you have with wives. Patience is for people whom you tolerate. Patience is not for children. For children, the only thing that you need to have as an educator, as a parent, is support, love, and understanding. And when you give this magic potion to your children can do what they are meant to do, and sometimes even more. I remember when I was appearing for my 10th standard board exams, I was a very average student. And I was average because I never used to feel like studying. I'm sure if I was in a different school, in a different curriculum, I would have excelled, which I have proven in life, that you leave me alone, I can do wonders with my intelligence, with my experience. But in school, I was a very, very average student. You won't believe it. I gave my entire 10th board exam by studying one day before. Each exam paper, one day before I'm studying. And that also, you know, you used to get these guides where you had all these questions, which the most questions which have been asked in all board exams. I used to only study that. And I was very scared the day the exam results were going to be out. I was sure I was going to fail. And my nervousness was there on my face. And I remember my dad's words as I was going to school to go and pick up my result. He said, "Beta, whatever the result, come back home. I'm there for you." And that little sentence from my dad changed me. It completely changed my thinking, my confidence. It was so amazing. That's called support. That's called love. And that's called understanding. It is very important that our children have resilience. If our children are resilient, today people are very worried, India की economy का क्या होगा, इतना lockdown है. भैया, dead people भी economy ऊपर नहीं ला सकते हैं. So it is very important that first we are alive. And for staying alive, this lockdown is very important. And once we come out of this whole crisis, I am sure all of us are going to put in our even double, triple best to bring up the economy, both of our homes, of our work, and that in turn will lead to the economy of the country. So it is very, very important, resilience. Next one skill that I want every child should have is that of intelligence. Now please don't confuse intelligence with memory. Because in India, intelligence is how much you can rote learn. No, intelligence is not memory. Intelligence is when you teach children how to learn and not what to learn. Very importantly. Like I'll ask you a question just now. What color is the sky? If I were to ask you, quickly tell me, what color is the sky? The first thing that comes to your mind is blue. You'll say blue. And if I were to ask you, why is the sky blue in color? Then you will ponder. Then you will think, why is the sky blue in color? Some people will say because of the reflection of water. Some people will say something else. And not very few people will say about the reflection of light. And then I ask people, what use was your education? Your education taught you only what color is the sky. That's it. But the minute you change the question to a thinking question and say, why is the sky blue in color? We are stumped. Because we have studied in that kind of era when education was all about general knowledge, how much we can rattle. But today's child, to become future citizen, does not need that kind of education. This child needs intelligence. This child needs inquiry. This child needs to understand why, what, when, where and how. And that is very important for us to understand, that if I give the skill of intelligence, which means intelligent thinking, if I don't stop children from thinking, I am creating individuals who think for themselves. And people who think for themselves think for the nation. So it is very, very important, I tell parents right from the early years, don't do things for children. Maria Montessori was also very against it. She used to say, we are not born to be servants of children. And I always tell parents, give choices to children. Start young. Put 3 clothes on the bed and say, which one would you like to wear? Thinking. I am now thinking within limited resources. The child will say, nahi, jo cupboard mein hai wo chahiye. Sorry, वो बंद है, उसमें से आपको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, आपको चॉइस इसमें से करनी है. So what have I taught the child? I've taught the child discipline, and I've also given choice, which is something the brain thrives on. Ask the children with choices. Would you like to draw with a pencil or a crayon? Even sleeping time can be a choice. Would you like to sleep with your teddy bear or your doll? So which means सोना तो है ही, choice आपको मिलेगी doll या teddy bear में. So choice. Teach children choices. You will become a better parent, you will become a better educator once you understand the language of choice. And choice gives children a chance to think. And that's why choices are very important. I know today parents and educators are all confused about choices. ICSE, CBSE, SSE, IB, Cambridge, Conlo. Why are we confused? We are confused because we don't know enough about these boards. And that's why, friends, to know enough about something, it is better to understand. And understanding is the first step of intelligence. If I don't understand something, I will be confused. If I don't understand something, it will never go in my long-term memory. It will stay in my short-term memory and then push, gaya. Understanding, very, very, very important. So intelligence, you have to remember, is not memory. Intelligence is teaching the brain how to learn and not what to learn. These kind of children who have learned this kind of intelligence can survive anywhere in the world, can survive any education system, can survive any amount of studying, because their brain knows how to learn. But it is people like us who were brought up in a rote world which are finding it very difficult to adjust to new ideas, to new concepts, to new inventions. So resilience, intelligence. So we started with balance, resilience, intelligence. Now we come to the next skill. And the next skill is Socio-Emotional Skills. You know, PISA, the exams that the world takes of children to decide which country is the most good in education, etc. PISA also has now said collaboration. They are going to give more marks to collaboration. What is collaboration? Collaboration, if you listen to Howard Gardner, there are two intelligence which are called interpersonal and intrapersonal. Social, emotional. Interpersonal means, am I able to get along with people? Am I able to be part of a group? Am I impacted by politics? Because if I know that a group's dynamic is politics, I won't be affected by it. Any group. And who's a group? 2 people are a couple. 3 people, group. So wherever there are 3 people, if you've noticed that, 2 people, you can't gossip. 2 people, you can only fight. 3 people, she can gossip about her to her. She can gossip about her to her. She can gossip with her about her. So many combinations. And I said she, but there are he also who gossip. So collaboration is about getting along in a group, whether you like the group or not. That is collaboration. Collaboration is not, I will only be friends with the people whom I like. I will only be friends with the people who are like me. That's not collaboration. That's absolutely nonsense. If you see the UN has violent countries, countries with nuclear bombs, countries without nuclear bombs, poor countries, rich countries, developed countries, underdeveloped countries. When the UN heads meet, do you think the developed countries' heads sit together and the nuclear armed countries sit together? No, they have to learn to get along because we are all on one planet. Similarly, we have to teach children socio-emotional development. how to get along with people, when to keep your mouth shut, and when to open your mouth. How much to open your mouth and how to open your mouth. I always tell my staff also that please put your point across. It is not the point that is the problem. It is how you put it across. So for example, if you're putting a point across to your boss, you need to know a little bit of manners, a little bit of professionalism. So you must know social development, social behavior, interpersonal intelligence. What is intrapersonal intelligence? How do I get along with myself? Am I fond of myself? Do I hate myself? Am I always unhappy with myself? I see so many women these days not happy with themselves. अरे मेरे बाल सफ़ेद हो गए हैं, अरे मेरे को झुर्रियाँ आने लगी हैं, oh my god, am I looking fat? Let me see this. No, be happy with how you are and who you are. If you have that confidence in you, people first get attracted to confidence. People never get attracted to gloomy people. People get attracted to confidence. And then doesn't matter you are ugly, you are fat, you are short, you are dark. No, does not matter. Have that confidence and happiness in yourself. Because if you can't like your own self, how do you expect people to like you? Isn't that unfair? So we need to teach children intrapersonal intelligence. And that can only happen when we tell them which are the qualities that they should work on and which are the qualities that they should be proud about. It's also very important for us to give frank feedback to children. Wow, superb! ये सब छोड़ दो after a certain age. After the age of 6, it is important that you don't just give these flowery praise to children and you give them feedback. More importantly, feedback instead of praise. Feedback. You know, your drawing is good, but I think you should have used better colors. It's very important to give feedback, because if children don't get used to getting feedback, they won't be able to take criticism. And please understand, the world criticizes. It does not give feedback. So it is feedback, if you give to your child from a very early age, will prepare your child for criticism. And your child will not react, your child will respond, which is so important. Socio-emotional development. Very, very important. The next skill that every child should have is kindness. We have forgotten how to be kind. We are not kind to people. I'm sure those of you who have traveled by the Mumbai trains know that as soon as a train comes in a station, people just rush in and want to capture a seat. That's the goal. I want to capture a seat. In that, they are not bothered who they pushed, whether that person was pregnant, whether the person was holding something. We have forgotten kindness. So sad. Kindness needs to come back. And we need to teach children kindness. And please, please don't confuse kindness with charity. You know, I don't like these days when people do charity for COVID and then they take a photograph. मालूम है, वो खाना दे रहे हैं गरीब लोगों को और फिर फोटो के सामने देख रहे हैं. अरे गरीब के सामने देखो, उसकी आंखों में देखो, फिर उसको खाना दो. Feel that moment. Feel that. Make that person feel. Why are you making that person feel like a beggar? Already that person is going through so much hell. But no, we want to post it on our Facebook, Instagram and get more likes. What kind of nonsense is that? Kindness. Let's teach our children kindness. Kindness starts from the family. Kindness is very different from charity. Be kind, which means treat a human being as a human being. That's the first step of being kind. And then when you start doing that, kindness comes from within you. I was not taught kindness. I saw kindness around me. I saw my parents valuing elders. I saw how they would help somebody in distress. It became something that I imbibed, sometimes so much that when I traveled by Air India, once, very many years back, all the air hostesses were above 60 years old. And when they came to serve me, I was not able to take it. I got up and I said, may I help you please? Kindness was so ingrained, but that's it. We need to understand that kindness is about not waiting for somebody to ask you for help. But when you see somebody struggling and you have that capacity to help them, then we should be helping. And not for photographs, please. Please understand that. Please don't mix kindness with charity. Be kind. We always teach our children, be kind to the elderly, be kind to the poor. What is this kindness? This kindness is to think empathy. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Then when you do that, you're able to think what that person must be going through. And when you think with empathy, you realize, oh my God, that person right now needs this. When you think with empathy before taking that photograph with that person whom you are donating something to, you will realize how degrading that person must be feeling. So think kindness and think empathy and teach this to children. Because it's so important for our children to grow up to be kind. When you are kind to yourself, you will be kind to others. And that's what I always tell mothers. Are you kind to yourself? You want to take a break? Take a break. I tell my staff also, you want to work from home today? Work from home. Take a break. You are trying to be kind to yourself. And please understand, friends, kindness requires mindfulness. Mindfulness has become a new term these days. Mindfulness is nothing but being in the moment. So be in that moment when you are helping somebody, a colleague, a friend, a neighbor, a support staff. Don't show off. Kindness and show off don't go together. Kindness and charity don't go together. It's very, very important. Now let me revise back whatever 5 skills I spoke to you about. Balance, resilience, intelligence, which is not the memory kind, socio-emotional development, and kindness. Now I want you to keep this B away, balance, and I want you to look at this, R-I-S-K, risk. B, risk. Risk is something that we are not allowing our children to take. And that is why I love men in education. Women are born nurturers. They love to take care, to protect. So they don't allow children to take risks. Men, on the other hand, are very, very open to risk. Now, what is risk? Risk means the ability to estimate whether I can do this or not, and whether it is safe or not, and whether this much of risk I can take or not. That itself, the ability to judge risk and the ability to take risks. The ability to judge risks requires intelligence, requires mindfulness, and the ability to take risks requires courage. And when you want that courage, you need that magic potion that I spoke to you about. The magic potion of love, support, and understanding. So friends, if we want today's children to grow up to be better citizens of tomorrow, to take care of this world, to take care of their families, to take care of the economy, we need to remember this acronym called B-RISK. B for balance, R for resilience, I for intelligence, S for socio-emotional, and K for kindness. Very, very, very important. 5 skills, very simple skills. 5 things that you as an educator should focus on in all your lesson planning, especially now during the online learning period. And 5 things that every parent must invest in, these 5. Because if you notice in all these 5, we talked about choices, we talked about being mindful, we talked about being supportive, understanding, we talked about feedback, not praise. So many aspects all come down to 5. So you want to give your child the best. You want to give today's students the best. It's not too late. Whether you are the teacher of a 5-year-old, of a 9-year-old, of a 15-year-old, or a 25-year-old, ask yourself, do I see these 5 in my students? And then the teacher in you will be awakened to give these 5 to your students. So friends, I am so happy that EdTech India gave me this opportunity. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, because I have just 3 or 5 minutes left. I have another session to go to. And Rupali, it's always a pleasure that wherever I am talking, I can always see Rupali Tanna's comment always there. I can see some very, very known people here who are with me on this session. And I thank you all for being here today, for listening to me. I am a hugely acronym person, because I feel acronyms are something that we can remember and relate to. So my acronym for today is B-RISK. Very, very important. So thank you. Since I can see that there are no questions, thank you very much. Please do join us on Zoom at 4:30 today. I am doing a session with 3 very important publishing houses on reading. And friends, if you are not yet a member of the Early Childhood Association or Association for Primary Education and Research, please go to our Facebook page, please go to our website, and please become. Right now, E.C.A is coming out with post-COVID guidelines for schools. We will be posting it on our Facebook page and our WhatsApp groups, because we want to help all schools, all educators to understand what it means. And for the link to the next session, you can go to E.C.A Facebook page and it is available there. I must thank Neha from EdTech India for inviting me to be part of this session. And thank you so much, all of you. All the known names that I can see here, and also all the unknown names whom I am seeing for the first time. I must say thank you. B-RISK. Bye.